Oppression whispers behind badges and clipboards, hidden in routine traffic stops. On a humid night in rural Georgia, two officers pulled over a black woman in an old truck, assuming she was tired, harmless, and alone. She looked quiet, forgettable. They barked orders, forced her to her knees, and pressed a gun against her head like she was prey. They didn't know she was a former Green Beret, trained in psychological warfare and tactical precision. Maya Jennings didn't fight back, yet, but when they crossed the line, they lit a fuse. And Maya knew exactly how to bring the whole system down. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Maya Jennings guided her father's old Ford F-150 through the familiar streets of her childhood, each turn stirring memories she thought she'd left behind. The truck's engine rumbled softly, a sound that reminded her of Sunday drives with Dad. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across Roosevelt Street, where kids once played hopscotch and double dutch. Now, the cracked sidewalks lay empty. She adjusted the rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of herself. 16 years in Special Forces had left their mark, not in scars or wrinkles, but in the watchful intensity of her dark eyes. At 40, she still maintained the same athletic build and precise posture that had served her well in the military. Her natural hair was pulled back in a neat bun, professional but practical. The neighborhood had changed. Where Miss Johnson's flower shop once stood, a vape store now cast its neon glow. The old barber shop where her father got his hair cut every 2 weeks was now a dollar store. Progress, they called it. But to Maya, it felt like erosion. She slowed the truck as she passed Central High School. The brick building stood unchanged, its windows reflecting the setting sun like sheets of copper. Maya remembered running track here, breaking records that probably still stood. Back then, her biggest worry had been making it to practice on time. Different battles now, she muttered to herself, thinking of the Veteran Support Center in Atlanta she'd just left. 12-hour days of helping soldiers navigate PTSD, depression, and a system that seemed designed to break them. She'd done good work there, but the weight of it had become unbearable. Every story of betrayal, every denied claim, every suicide, they all hit too close to home. The truck's tires crunched on the gravel driveway of her childhood home. The modest 2-story house needed a fresh coat of paint, but Mom had kept the garden alive with Dad's favorite roses. The American flag still flew from the front porch. Dad's flag, the one they'd given Mom at his funeral 6 months ago. Maya grabbed her duffel bag from the passenger seat, old habits die hard, everything she needed in one bag, and climbed out of the truck. The evening air was thick with humidity and the sweet scent of magnolias. A wind chime tinkled softly, the one she'd sent Mom from Germany during her second tour. "There's my girl," her mother's voice carried from the porch. Diane Jennings stood in the doorway, wiping her hands on her apron. At 65, she still moved with the grace of the schoolteacher she'd been for 30 years. Maya climbed the worn steps and let herself be enveloped in her mother's embrace. She smelled of vanilla extract and fabric softener, scents that meant home, safety, peace. "You're too thin," Diane said, pulling back to examine her daughter's face. "Have you been eating?" "Yes, Mom." Maya managed a small smile. "Military habits, remember? Regular meals, regular exercise." Inside, the house was exactly as Maya remembered. Family photos lined the walls, her graduation from West Point, Dad in his postal worker uniform, Mom's retirement party. The worn leather armchair where her father used to read the Sunday paper still sat in its corner, though no one had sat in it since the funeral. "I made your favorite," Diane said, leading the way to the kitchen. "Chicken and dumplings, just like Grandma used to make." The kitchen was warm and bright, yellow curtains filtering the last rays of sunlight. A pot simmered on the stove, filling the air with the comfort of childhood memories. Maya set her bag down and began helping her mother set the table, falling into their old rhythm. "How's the unpacking going?" Maya asked, noting the moving boxes stacked in the dining room. Her mother had decided to downsize, to move into a smaller place closer to her sister in Augusta. "Slow," Diane admitted. "Your father kept everything. I found tax returns from 1982 in his desk yesterday." She paused, stirring the pot. "It's hard, deciding what to keep." Maya nodded, understanding the weight of those decisions. What do you keep when every object holds a memory? She'd faced similar choices after each deployment: what to carry forward, what to leave behind. They ate dinner together, talking about safe topics: Aunt Sarah's garden, Cousin Marcus's new baby, the church bake sale. Maya listened more than she spoke, letting her mother's voice fill the quiet spaces. After dinner, while loading the dishwasher, Diane suddenly pressed her hand to her forehead. "Oh, I almost forgot. I need to pick up my prescription from the pharmacy. My blood pressure medicine." Maya glanced at the clock. 9:45 p.m. "I'll get it, Mom. The 24-hour one on Madison?" "You don't have to, baby. You just got here." "It's fine." Maya already had her keys in hand. "You should rest. I remember the way." The night air had cooled slightly when Maya stepped outside. She climbed back into the truck, adjusting the seat that still held the impression of her father's frame. The engine started with a familiar growl, and she backed out of the driveway. The streets were quiet now, most houses dark except for porch lights. Maya drove past the old church, its steeple a black silhouette against the star-filled sky. A few cars dotted the parking lot of the 24-hour Walgreens, its fluorescent lights creating a harsh island of brightness in the darkness. She pulled into a parking spot near the entrance, taking note of her surroundings out of habit. Exits, sightlines, potential cover. The pharmacy's windows reflected her truck's headlights, creating ghostly shapes in the glass. Maya turned off the engine, unaware of the two squad cars idling in the shadows of the adjacent lot, their occupants watching her every move. Maya pulled out of the Walgreens parking lot, her mother's prescription secure in her jacket pocket. The night had grown darker, and the streets were nearly empty. She took the back road home, a habit from years of tactical driving, avoiding main streets when possible. Red and blue lights suddenly flashed in her rearview mirror. Maya checked her speed. She was doing exactly the limit. Her hands tightened on the steering wheel as she pulled over, positioning the truck so the dashboard camera would have a clear view. Two patrol cars stopped behind her, their spotlights flooding her mirrors with blinding light. Maya kept her hands at 10 and 2, breathing steady, just like she'd taught countless veterans in her de-escalation workshops. Deputy Shane Tolliver approached her window, his flashlight beam striking her face. Officer McCrae flanked the passenger side, his hand already resting on his holstered weapon. "License and registration," Tolliver drawled, not bothering with a greeting. "May I ask why I'm being stopped, officer?" Maya's voice remained calm and professional. Broken taillight. Tolliver's tone dripped with condescension. "And now you're getting attitude with me?" "No attitude, sir. I checked all my lights this morning. They were working fine." McCrae's knuckles rapped hard against her passenger window. He said, "License and registration, girl." Maya's jaw tightened at the word girl, but she kept her voice steady. "I'm going to reach for my documents now." She moved slowly, deliberately, pulling her license from her wallet and the registration from the glove compartment. Tolliver studied her license, his lip curling. "Says here you're military." "Was military. 16 years, Special Forces." "Well, ain't that something?" Tolliver sneered. "One of them, affirmative action soldiers." Maya's pulse quickened, but her expression remained neutral. "Sir, I earned my position just like everyone else. Step out of the vehicle." Tolliver's hand moved to his gun. I don't believe that's necessary for a taillight violation. I said, get out! Tolliver yanked open her door, drawing his weapon. Hands where I can see them! Maya complied, moving with measured precision. The gravel crunched under her boots as she stepped out. McCrae had circled around, his gun also drawn. You people never learn, do you? Tolliver spat. Always gotta make things difficult. I'm not making anything difficult, Maya said. I'm cooperating fully. On your knees! McCrae shouted, advancing closer. Maya stood her ground. That's not a lawful order for a traffic stop. Tolliver pressed his gun against her temple. The cold metal sent a familiar chill down her spine. Not fear, but a deep, burning anger she hadn't felt since her last deployment. You think your fancy military training makes you special? Tolliver's breath was hot against her ear. Down, on, your knees. Maya could have disarmed him in 2 moves, could have had both officers on the ground before they knew what hit them. The muscle memory was there, screaming at her to act. But she knew better. This wasn't a battlefield where the rules of engagement were clear. She lowered herself to her knees, gravel biting through her jeans. That's better, Tolliver laughed. Now this is what I call proper respect for the law. Look at her now, McCrae chuckled, pulling out his phone. Not so tough anymore, are you, soldier? Maya remained silent, her mind cataloging every detail. Tolliver's badge number. The slight tremor in McCrae's trigger finger. The way Tolliver's weight shifted to his left leg. An old injury, maybe. The exact time on the cruiser's dashboard clock visible in her peripheral vision. Y'all got a lot of nerve, Tolliver said, pressing the gun harder against her head. Coming back here, thinking you're better than everyone else. Need to be reminded of your place. A car passed on the distant main road, its headlights briefly illuminating the scene. In that flash, Maya caught movement behind the chain-link fence across the street. A figure crouched low, holding something up. What do you think, McCrae? Tolliver asked, his voice thick with mock consideration. Should we run her in? McCrae lowered his phone, having gotten his trophy shot. Nah, let her go. She learned her lesson, didn't you, girl? Maya said nothing, her eyes fixed straight ahead. She was measuring distances, memorizing faces, recording every word in her mind with crystal clarity. Get up, Tolliver ordered, finally lowering his weapon. And get that taillight fixed. Wouldn't want to have to stop you again. Maya stood slowly, dignity intact, despite the gravel embedded in her knees. She walked back to her truck without looking at either officer, her movements precise and controlled. Have a blessed night now, Tolliver called out, his laughter following her as she got back into the driver's seat. She watched in the rearview mirror as Tolliver showed McCrae something on his phone, the photo of her kneeling. They shared another laugh before returning to their patrol cars. Maya waited until both cruisers had pulled away before starting her engine. As she drove past the chain-link fence, she caught a glimpse of Jalen Harris, his phone still raised, ducking behind an old oak tree. She didn't acknowledge him, didn't give any sign that she'd seen him filming the entire encounter. The truck's headlights cut through the darkness as she drove home, all lights working perfectly. Her hands were steady on the wheel, her breathing controlled. To anyone watching, she might have appeared calm, but inside, something had shifted. A switch flipped back to a setting she'd hoped to leave behind. The morning sun filtered through Maya's bedroom window, casting long shadows across the worn hardwood floor. She stood at her dresser, methodically covering the bruises on her knees with concealer. A skill she'd learned long ago in the service, hiding injuries to maintain operational readiness. Her mother didn't need another worry weighing on her mind. Downstairs, the smell of coffee and bacon filled the kitchen. Sarah Jennings hummed gospel tunes while cooking breakfast, her voice carrying up the stairs like it had when Maya was a child. "Morning, Mama," Maya said, entering the kitchen in fresh clothes, her stride betraying no hint of last night's ordeal. "There's my girl." Sarah turned from the stove, spatula in hand. "Sleep well in your old room?" "Like a rock." Maya poured herself coffee, letting the familiar routine mask the tension in her shoulders. "Feels strange being back here." "Good strange, I hope." Sarah studied her daughter's face. "You seem different this morning." Maya took a careful sip of coffee. "Just adjusting. City life to small town takes some getting used to." Across town, Jalen Harris sat cross-legged on his bed, his phone screen replaying the footage from last night for the 20th time. The video was clear despite the darkness. 2 officers, guns drawn, forcing a black woman to her knees. The audio picked up every slur, every threat. His sister Andrea leaned against his doorframe, arms crossed. "You can't just sit on this, Jay." "I know, but..." Jalen's thumb hovered over the upload button. "What if they find out it was me?" "That's why we do it anonymous," Andrea said, sitting beside him. "No name, new account. People need to see this." Jalen's hands shook slightly. "These cops, Drea, they're scary. The way they treated her. Exactly why it needs to get out." Andrea squeezed his shoulder. "Remember what Dad always said? Silence helps the oppressor." Jalen nodded slowly, creating a new TikTok account with a generic username. He trimmed the video to the most damning 2 minutes, added a simple caption: "Georgia cops force black woman to kneel at gunpoint during traffic stop. No citation given." His finger hesitated one last time before pressing post. At the local grocery store, Maya pushed her cart through the produce section, filling it with basics to stock her mother's kitchen. The familiar faces of her childhood hometown moved around her, but something felt off. Whispers followed in her wake. People glanced at their phones, then at her, quickly looking away when she met their eyes. Mrs. Thompson, her old Sunday school teacher, actually backed away when Maya rounded the corner into the cereal aisle. Maya's tactical awareness kicked in. The hair on the back of her neck stood up. Too many eyes on her, too many phones pointed in her direction. She'd felt this kind of attention before, but only in combat zones. Her own phone buzzed in her pocket. She ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. In the checkout line, the teenage cashier's hands trembled as he scanned her items, his eyes darting between her face and his phone propped beside the register. "Everything okay?" Maya asked, her voice level. "Yes, ma'am," he squeaked, dropping her change. Maya's phone wouldn't stop vibrating. As she loaded groceries into her truck, she finally pulled it out. 37 missed calls, hundreds of messages, social media notifications flooding her screen. A text from Doc caught her eye, her trusted medic from 3 tours, the man who'd pulled shrapnel from her shoulder under heavy fire in Kandahar. There was a screenshot attached, her kneeling on gravel, Tolliver's gun pressed against her temple. The video had over 2 million views already. "Is this you?" Doc's message read. Maya stared at the image, her reflection ghosted in the phone screen. The woman in the video looked small, vulnerable, but Maya saw something different. She saw a soldier gathering intelligence, memorizing enemies, preparing for the next phase of operations. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Doc. "Whatever you need, I'm there. Just say the word." Maya typed back a single word. "Stand by." In his bedroom, Jalen watched the view count climb. His hands were still shaking, but now from adrenaline rather than fear. The comments section exploded. "This is straight-up racism. She didn't even do anything wrong. Someone ID these cops now. Wait, comments saying she's military?" Andrea burst into his room, her eyes wide. "Jay, it's everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Everyone's sharing it." Jalen felt his throat tighten. You think I did the right thing? Look at the responses, Andrea said, scrolling through comments. People are angry. They're asking questions. That's exactly what needs to happen. Back in her truck, Maya sat perfectly still, her groceries warming in the Georgia sun. Her training kicked in automatically. Assess the situation, identify variables, plan contingencies. The video changed everything. Her quiet return home had just become a tactical scenario. Her phone lit up with another text from Doc. Local news picking it up. National outlets calling my contacts asking about you. Need extraction? Maya watched an elderly couple hurry past her truck, whispering and pointing. In the store window, the teenage cashier was showing his phone to a coworker, both of them stealing glances at her vehicle. She thought of Tolliver's sneer, of McCrae's laughter, of the cold press of steel against her temple. She thought of her father, who'd always taught her that justice wasn't just about following laws. It was about standing up when those laws were wielded as weapons. Maya typed back to Doc. Negative on extraction. Beginning operations. Stand by for instructions. The grocery store's automatic doors slid open, and more people emerged, phones raised, trying to discreetly film her. Maya started her truck, her mind already shifting into mission mode. She'd come home looking for peace, but they'd brought the war to her doorstep. Maya's phone rang as she pulled into her mother's driveway. Doc's name flashed on the screen. "You need to move fast," he said without preamble. "These guys, they're going to try to get ahead of the story." Maya killed the engine but stayed in the truck. "Talk to me. I've been digging since you texted. That stop wasn't random, Maya. Your plates were run 4 times yesterday before they pulled you over. Someone flagged you coming into town." The hair on Maya's neck stood up. She scanned the quiet street, noting a sedan driving past for the second time in 5 minutes. "How'd you access that information?" "Let's just say I still have friends in interesting places." Doc's voice lowered. "Listen, I pulled your military file. It was accessed yesterday afternoon from the county sheriff's system. They knew exactly who you were before they stopped you." Maya's jaw tightened. "That's impossible. Those records are classified. Someone's got clearance they shouldn't have. Or connections they shouldn't have." Keys clicked in the background as Doc typed. "And here's the thing, you're not the first. I'm seeing a pattern of traffic stops involving black veterans in that county. Too many to be coincidence." Maya reached under her seat, pulling out a small external hard drive. "I installed dash cams after Afghanistan, front and rear, running 24/7. Smart girl. What have you got?" She plugged the drive into her laptop. "Checking now. But something's wrong. Files are corrupted. Video feed cuts out right before they approach the vehicle. They're using signal jammers," Doc said. "Standard police tech now, supposedly for officer safety. Conveniently kills civilian cameras during stops." Maya scrolled through the fragmented footage. Got partial audio, though. Background chatter before they hit their lights. She turned up the volume. "That's the one. Green Beret bit. Keep it clean. Stick to protocol. Show her how we handle." The audio dissolved into static. "They were waiting for me," Maya said quietly. "It gets worse. Local news is already spinning it. Check Channel 4's website." Maya pulled up the site on her phone. The headline made her stomach turn. "Military veteran involved in tense police encounter. Questions raised about mental state. They're going to paint you as unstable," Doc warned. "Standard playbook. Discredit the victim before they can fight back. You need to get ahead of this." A notification popped up. Breaking news alert. Maya watched as her own face appeared on screen. A grainy mugshot from her military file. The photo had been taken after a classified operation. Her expression hard, a healing cut visible above her eye. The anchor's voice dripped with manufactured concern. "Sources within the sheriff's department express worry about the subject's extensive combat training and potential psychological trauma from multiple deployments. "They're making me sound like a threat," Maya said, her voice flat. "That's exactly what they're doing. Sheriff Kenneth Danvers just released a statement. Want me to read it?" "Hit me." Doc cleared his throat. "While we take all allegations of misconduct seriously, the public should understand that the individual in question is a trained military operative with extensive combat experience. Our officers followed protocol when dealing with a potentially unstable subject who demonstrated concerning behavior." "Concerning behavior," Maya repeated. "I was picking up prescriptions. They're building a narrative. Next, they'll leak parts of your service record, just enough to make you scary, not enough to show your commendations." Through her windshield, Maya spotted another slow-moving car. Dark sedan, tinted windows, not even trying to be subtle about the surveillance. "Doc, I need you to do something for me. Pull everything you can on Sheriff Danvers. Financial records, property holdings, political connections. Something about this feels bigger than a racist traffic stop." "Already on it. But Maya..." Doc paused. "Watch your six. These people, they're not just cops. They're part of a system, and that system has resources." "I know." Maya watched the sedan make another pass. "They think they're hunting me. They don't realize they just activated a weapon they can't control. What's your play?" Maya's phone buzzed with another news alert. The sheriff's department was holding a press conference in an hour. More accusations about her mental state. More implications of danger. "They want to talk about my training?" Maya's voice was steel. "Fine. Let's show them exactly what they're dealing with." She reached into her glove compartment, pulling out a small black device, a military-grade scanner capable of detecting surveillance equipment. It immediately picked up 3 different signals. "Doc, I need you to monitor all police frequencies. Text me if you hear anything about surveillance teams or tactical responses." "Copy that." "What else?" Maya spotted movement in her side mirror. Another unmarked car, this one with a camera pointed at her house. They were building a case, gathering footage to support their narrative of the dangerous veteran. "One more thing," Maya said. "Remember that encryption program we used in Kandahar? The one that let us communicate without leaving digital footprints? Still got it. You thinking what I'm thinking? Set it up. We're going to need secure comms for what comes next." Maya watched as a news van slowly cruised past her house. They wanted a soldier? They've got one. The local news was now running her military photo in a continuous loop, with experts discussing combat-related stress and the challenges facing troubled veterans. The sheriff's department had released more statements, each one carefully crafted to paint her as a threat, while maintaining plausible deniability. "Maya," Doc's voice softened, "you know they're trying to bait you into doing something aggressive. Give them an excuse. I know exactly what they're doing." Maya's eyes tracked another surveillance car. But they made one critical mistake. "What's that?" They assumed I'd react like a soldier. A cold smile crossed her face. They forgot I was intelligence. Maya parked her truck in the sheriff's office lot, right under the security camera. "Let them watch." She straightened her blazer, professional, non-threatening, and walked through the glass doors with measured steps. The front desk sergeant looked up, recognition flickering across his face. His hand drifted toward his radio. "Good morning," Maya said, keeping her voice steady and pleasant. "I'm here to request the body cam footage from my traffic stop last night." The sergeant, his nameplate read Peterson, shifted in his chair. "Ma'am, there's currently an internal investigation pending regarding that incident." "I understand." Maya placed her hands flat on the counter, visible and still. "However, under Georgia Code, Section 50 to 1870, I have the right to request that footage. I'm happy to submit the formal paperwork." Peterson's eyes darted to a door behind him. You'll need to speak with records about that. They're closed today for system maintenance. On a Tuesday morning? Maya raised an eyebrow. That's unusual. Like I said, there's an ongoing investigation. Peterson's voice hardened. If you want to file a complaint, there are forms available. Maya leaned slightly to her right, as if adjusting her stance. The movement gave her a clear view of the whiteboard behind the front desk. 3 columns: watch list, active warrants, and BOLO. Be on lookout. Under watch list, her name and plate number were written in fresh red marker. I see. Maya pulled out her phone, making sure Peterson could see she was only taking notes. And who would be handling this investigation? I'd like to follow up directly. That information isn't public yet. Peterson's hand was still near his radio. You'll be contacted if necessary. The door behind him opened. A young officer stepped out, carrying a stack of files. He froze when he saw Maya, nearly dropping the papers. Officer McCrae, Maya said softly. Good morning. McCrae's face flushed. He hurried past without responding, but Maya caught the tremor in his hands. She'd seen that look before, in young soldiers who'd done something they couldn't take back. Is there anything else we can help you with? Peterson asked, his tone making it clear she wasn't welcome. Maya smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. Just one thing. When did Sheriff Danvers start requiring background checks on out-of-town plates? Peterson's expression didn't change, but his pulse jumped visibly in his neck. That's standard procedure, ma'am. Of course. Maya turned to leave, then paused. You might want to update your board, though. My father's truck has new plates now. The ones listed are expired. She walked out, feeling their stares on her back. In her peripheral vision, she caught movement. Officers in the parking lot, suddenly very interested in their phones. Taking pictures, no doubt. Maya drove home the long way, checking for tails. 3 different vehicles tried to follow her. Amateur hour. She lost them easily with basic counter-surveillance moves, turning down dead-end streets and doubling back. At home, she changed clothes and waited until dark. The surveillance cars were still there, but they were watching the front of the house. They didn't notice when she slipped out the back, through her neighbor's yard, and into the shadows of the old railroad tracks. Maya had seen Jalen's house earlier that day while reviewing the route from her traffic stop. The teenager's filming spot behind the fence gave away his location. Now, she approached carefully, staying in the darkness between streetlights. She found him in his garage, editing video on a laptop. Smart kid. He'd set up his workspace to face the entrance, but he hadn't checked his blind spots. You got a good angle last night, Maya said quietly. Jalen jumped, spinning around. How did you... He stopped, recognition dawning. You're her, the woman from the video. Maya Jennings. She stayed by the door, giving him space. And you're Jalen Harris, the filmmaker. How do you know my name? Your sister mentioned you in the comments section when she encouraged you to post the video. Maya gestured to his laptop. Mind if we talk? Jalen glanced nervously at his house. My parents are watching TV in the living room. I saw them through the window. They can't hear us out here. He swallowed hard. Are you mad? About me filming? No. Maya pulled up a stool, keeping her movements slow and deliberate. But I need to know exactly what you captured. Jalen's shoulders relaxed slightly. He turned his laptop toward her. I got everything, from when they first pulled you over until you drove away. The sound's not great at the beginning, but... He hit play. The footage was clearer than Maya expected. The officers' faces were clearly visible in their headlights. Every action, every word was documented. I have the raw file, too, Jalen said. Uncompressed. Better quality than what I posted. Smart. Maya watched the screen. You thought to preserve the original. I've been documenting stuff like this for a while. Jalen's voice grew stronger. Police harassment, racial profiling. Usually just on my phone. But when I saw them following your truck, you knew what was coming. Maya nodded. You've seen it before. Too many times. Jalen pulled up another folder on his laptop. I can give you a copy of the raw footage, if it helps. Maya studied him for a moment. He was young, but his eyes were old. The eyes of someone who'd seen too much, too soon. Thank you, she said, holding out a clean USB drive. This could make a difference. As Jalen copied the files, Maya noticed his hands shaking slightly. Hey, she said softly, you need to be careful now. Keep your head down for a while. I'm always careful. Jalen handed back the drive. But someone has to show the truth, right? Maya took the drive, weighing her next words carefully. The truth is important, but so is staying safe. Maybe take a break from filming for a bit. Why? Jalen's eyes narrowed. Did someone threaten you? Not directly. Maya stood up. Just trust me on this. Sometimes the best thing you can do is stay quiet and watch. Like you did? During the stop? Maya paused at the door. Something like that. Maya pulled into Jerry's truck stop just before dawn. The neon sign buzzed overhead, casting red shadows across the nearly empty parking lot. Only 3 other vehicles were there: a semi, an old Buick, and Doc's familiar black Honda. She parked far from the entrance, backing in for a quick exit. Through the diner's wide windows, she spotted Doc in a corner booth, his laptop open and a coffee cup already empty. Some things never changed. The bell chimed as she entered. Doc didn't look up, but his right hand moved slightly closer to his side. Old habits. Your situational awareness is slipping, Maya said, sliding into the booth. I could have been anyone. Doc smiled, still typing. I knew it was you from the way you parked. Nobody else backs in that precisely. He closed his laptop. You look tired. Haven't slept much. Maya waved off the approaching waitress. Tell me what you found. Not here. Doc glanced around, then pulled out a small device that looked like a phone charger. He plugged it into the wall outlet. White noise generator. Now we can talk. Maya leaned forward. The traffic stop wasn't random. No kidding. I dug into Sheriff Danvers' department. They've been flagging black veterans entering the county for months. Special database, separate from regular records. For what purpose? Money. Doc pulled up something on his laptop, turning it so Maya could see. Private prison contracts. They get kickbacks for every inmate. But veterans? They're worth double. Maya's jaw tightened. Because of the federal subsidies. Exactly. Plus, they can justify higher security costs for potentially dangerous inmates with combat training. Doc's voice was bitter. It's a whole system. They target vets, especially black and brown ones, provoke confrontations, then use our training against us in court. Maya's coffee arrived. She didn't touch it. Make us look unstable. The media's already painting you that way. Doc showed her recent headlines on his phone. They're setting you up, Maya. If you try to fight this legally... I know. Maya stared out the window. The sun was rising, painting the sky in shades of purple and orange. I can't win this in court. Or through the media. So, what's the play? Maya turned back to him. I need to disappear. Go dark. Build a case they can't bury. Doc nodded slowly. I figured you'd say that. Already got some things in motion. He pulled out a burner phone. First step is getting you off their radar. They're monitoring everything. Your phone, your accounts, probably your house too. My mother is safe. I've got people watching her. Ex-unit guys who owe me favors. Doc started writing on a napkin. But you need to move now. I've got a cabin lined up, way outside county lines. Owner's a vet who helps people disappear for a while. Maya studied the napkin. Coordinates, not an address. Smart. What about evidence? That's where I come in. Doc grinned. Remember Kosovo, when we had to track those weapons shipments? The data mining op. Maya felt a ghost of a smile. You still have those skills? Better ones now. Been keeping busy. He patted his laptop. Give me 2 days. I'll have everything they don't want found. Arrest records, financial trails, internal communications. The diner was getting busier. Maya checked her watch. We should move. Where do we start? First, we strip your devices. Every phone, tablet, laptop, anything that can ping a tower or satellite. Doc began packing up. Then we clone your phone, so it looks like you're still in town. After that, we switch vehicles. They paid in cash and left separately. Maya followed Doc's Honda to a storage facility on the outskirts of town. The unit was packed with equipment she recognized from their military days, plus newer tech she didn't. Here, Doc handed her a small case. Burner phones, encrypted tablet, and a satellite communicator that bounces signals through 3 different countries. He pointed to a workbench. Let's start with your phone. For the next hour, they methodically stripped Maya's digital footprint. Doc showed her how to clone her phone's signal, making it appear as if she was still moving around town. They transferred essential data to encrypted drives and wiped everything else. Vehicles next, Doc said, rolling up a storage door to reveal a dusty blue pickup. Registration's clean, plates are from 3 counties over. Switch them regularly. He tossed her the keys. Cabin coordinates are already in the GPS. Untraceable route. Maya caught the keys. You've done this before. More times than I like to admit. Doc's expression darkened. Too many vets getting chewed up by the system. Someone has to help them disappear. They transferred her gear to the pickup. Doc handed her a heavy duffel bag. Basic supplies, some equipment you might need. There's a laptop in there with everything I've found so far on the department. Start building your case file. Maya hefted the bag. Thank you, Doc. Don't thank me yet. He checked his watch. You should move. Take the route we discussed. All back roads, no cameras. I'll send updates through the secure channel. The sun was fully up now, promising another hot Georgia day. Maya climbed into the pickup, adjusting the seat. It felt strange. Not her father's truck, not her life from yesterday. Maya. Doc's voice stopped her before she could start the engine. Be careful with this. These people, they're not just corrupt cops. This goes higher. I know. Maya checked her mirrors. That's why they need to be stopped. She drove away, following the memorized route to the cabin. No GPS yet. Too risky. The back roads were empty, winding through dense forest and abandoned farmland, perfect for disappearing. The cabin was exactly what she needed. Remote, defensible, with good sight lines and multiple escape routes. A retired Marine lived a mile away, close enough for backup, but far enough for privacy. Doc had chosen well. Maya unloaded her gear methodically, setting up a workspace in the cabin's main room. The laptop came first, then paper maps of the county, then a blank wall for building her case file. As she worked, her mind kept returning to the image of herself kneeling on that dark road. The cabin's main room transformed into a tactical operations center within hours. Maya had positioned her workspace facing the entrance with clear sightlines to all windows. Old habits died hard. 3 laptops formed a semicircle on the wooden table. One for police scanner feeds, one for data analysis, and one for document review. She'd been at it for 6 hours straight, her only breaks to check the perimeter. The wall behind her was starting to fill up with photos, documents, and red string connecting the pieces. It looked like something from a crime show. But Maya knew the value of visual mapping. She'd used similar setups during intelligence operations overseas. The police scanner crackled. Unit 247, responding to suspicious activity on Maple Grove Road. Maya checked her map. That was Tolliver's unit. She'd memorized all their call signs on day 1. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, logging time, location, and response pattern. Every patrol had a purpose, even if it wasn't obvious yet. Copy that. 247. Subject described as male, black, approximately 30 years old, wearing military-style jacket. Maya's jaw tightened. She added another pin to her map. Red for veteran targeting. The pattern was becoming clearer with each call. Certain neighborhoods got more patrols. Certain descriptions got faster response times. And veterans, especially black veterans, got special attention. Doc's encrypted message popped up on her secure tablet. Got those arrest records you wanted. Last 18 months. You're not going to like this. The files downloaded quickly. Maya started sorting them by demographic data, creating spreadsheets to track patterns. The numbers were damning. Black men made up 30% of the county's population, but 70% of arrests. Veterans were arrested at 3 times the rate of civilians. And the charges, they were almost comically inflated. Resisting arrest appeared in nearly every report involving a black veteran. Simple traffic stops escalated to felony charges. Maya recognized the technique: create confrontation, provoke a response, then use the suspect's military background to justify excessive force. She pulled up one case file that made her blood boil. James Wilson, former Army sergeant, arrested for aggressive behavior during a routine license check. The dashcam footage showed him standing perfectly still, hands visible, while Tolliver screamed contradictory commands. 3 months in county lockup before the charges were dropped. The scanner buzzed again. Unit 247 to dispatch. Subject apprehended. Requesting transport. Maya checked the time. Less than 4 minutes from call to arrest. She added another pin to the map, another entry to her database. The pattern was so obvious, it was almost insulting. They weren't even trying to hide it anymore. Her secure phone vibrated. A text from Doc. Check your encrypted email. Found something interesting in the county contract records. The files were massive. Hundreds of pages of legal documents and financial records. Maya started scanning, looking for keywords she'd learned to recognize. Performance metrics, occupancy requirements, revenue sharing. There it was, buried in subsection 47B of a facility management contract. The county received additional funding for maintaining minimum occupancy levels in the privately operated detention center. Higher security inmates, like veterans, earned premium rates. It's all about the money, Maya muttered, adding more notes to her wall. She'd seen similar schemes in other countries where corrupt officials profited from keeping prisons full. But seeing it here, in her hometown, made it personal. A new email arrived, this one through one of Doc's secure channels. The sender was anonymous, probably a whistleblower inside the department. Maya opened the attachment carefully, using a sanitized virtual machine to prevent tracking. The documents were internal memos, dated over the past year. They detailed weekly arrest quotas, target demographics, and enhanced processing fees paid by the private prison company. Several memos were signed by Sheriff Danvers himself, with handwritten notes about maintaining profitable occupancy levels. One memo stood out. It was from Tolliver to Danvers, discussing the Veteran Initiative, a coordinated effort to identify and arrest black veterans for maximum financial return. They even had a scoring system, points for each arrest, bonus points for felony charges, extra bonuses for any veteran who could be labeled as mentally unstable due to service history. Maya's hands shook as she pinned the memo to her wall. The whole system was designed like a business plan. Find veterans, provoke them, arrest them, profit from their incarceration. Tolliver and Danvers weren't just corrupt cops. They were running a human trafficking operation disguised as law enforcement. She checked her watch. Nearly midnight. The scanner had gone quiet, But Maya knew Tolliver's unit was still out there, hunting for their next target. She added the last few documents to her wall, stepping back to study the full picture. The red strings connected everything now. Patrol patterns matched arrest records. Arrest records matched prison contracts. Prison contracts matched bank transfers to offshore accounts. And at the center of it all, Tolliver and Danvers, turning their badges into business licenses. Maya took photos of her evidence wall, encrypting them before sending them to Doc. His response came quickly. "Holy crap, this is bigger than we thought. How deep do you want to go?" She looked at the map, at all the red pins marking veteran arrests. Each one represented a life disrupted, a family traumatized, a soldier betrayed by the very system they'd sworn to protect. Her fingers traced the path from her traffic stop location to the private prison facility. "All the way," she typed back. "We're going to tear it all down." Jalen stood at his locker after school, gathering his books, when a man in a leather jacket approached. The stranger leaned casually against the adjacent locker, too close for comfort. "Nice phone you got there," the man said, nodding at Jay's device. "Must take real good videos with that." Jay's heart skipped. He kept his face neutral, just like Maya had taught him. "It's just a regular phone." The man smiled, but his eyes were cold. "I'm Detective Roberts. Just wanted to have a friendly chat about social media. You know how dangerous it can be, posting things without thinking." Jay clutched his backpack tighter. "I need to catch my bus." "Of course." Roberts straightened up, adjusting his jacket to reveal the badge clipped to his belt. "Just remember, videos can be misleading. Sometimes people who share them end up in trouble, especially young men with bright futures." The threat hung in the air as Roberts walked away. Jay waited until he was gone before letting out a shaky breath. His hands trembled as he texted Maya. 20 minutes later, Maya's truck pulled up outside Jay's house. His mother, sister, and Maya sat at the kitchen table while Jay described the encounter. "He knew exactly what he was doing," Maya said, her voice tight with controlled anger. "Classic intimidation tactic. They're trying to scare you into staying quiet." Jay's mother gripped her son's hand. "Maybe you should stay away from all this. It's not safe." "Mom, I can't just ignore what's happening," Jay protested. "They're hurting people. Someone has to show the truth." Maya studied Jay carefully. She recognized the look in his eyes, the same determination she'd seen in young soldiers who refused to back down from what was right. "If you're going to keep documenting, we need to make you safer. I can teach you some basic surveillance techniques." Over the next hour, Maya showed Jay how to film discreetly, using reflective surfaces, maintaining distance, keeping steady hands. She helped him set up encrypted storage and anonymous upload channels. "Never film alone," she insisted. "Always have backup watching. And if anything feels wrong, anything at all, you get out immediately." Jay nodded, soaking up every word. His sister promised to be his lookout, and his mother reluctantly agreed after Maya outlined all the safety protocols. That evening, Jay put his new skills to work. He and his sister parked near known traffic stop hotspots, documenting every interaction. They caught officers following black drivers, making unnecessary stops, conducting searches without cause. Each video was carefully encrypted and sent to Maya's secure server. Around 9 p.m., they spotted Tolliver's cruiser outside the Blue Line, a local bar known for its police clientele. Jay's sister kept watch while he crept closer, using his phone's zoom lens through a gap in the fence. Tolliver sat at an outdoor table with other officers, drinking and laughing. Jay's phone picked up their voices clearly. "You should have seen her face," Tolliver was saying, gesturing with his beer. "Miss Tough Soldier, down on her knees like that. Not so special with my gun against her head." The other officers laughed. One mimicked a begging pose, drawing more cruel laughter. "Bet she won't be filing any complaints," McCrae added, his words slightly slurred. Nobody believes the crazy vet anyway. Jay's hands shook with anger, but he kept filming. Tolliver went on, describing other arrests, other victims, each confession more damning than the last. When they finally moved inside, Jay had nearly 30 minutes of footage. He sent everything to Maya immediately, adding, "Got them on camera bragging about it all." They admitted everything. Maya's response came quickly. "Good work. This is exactly what we needed. Go straight home." But Jay was hungry after hours of surveillance. "Gonna grab some food first," he texted back. "Meeting my sister at the burger place on Oak Street." "Be careful," Maya warned. "Don't go alone." "It's cool," Jay replied. "Just 5 minutes away. See you tomorrow." He walked quickly through the darkening streets, replaying the footage in his mind. Finally, real proof of their corruption. His sister had gone ahead to order their food, and he could almost taste the fries. The streetlight ahead flickered. A car engine rumbled somewhere behind him. Jay picked up his pace, Maya's warnings echoing in his head. The burger place was just around the corner now, its neon sign glowing in the distance. He never made it there. Hours later, Jay's sister sat in Maya's cabin, crying as she showed the last text from her brother. "Almost there. Save me some fries." Maya paced the room, her tactical wall now including a new section, a map tracking Jay's last known location, his regular routes, traffic cameras that might have caught something. Her phone buzzed with messages from Doc, who was already hacking into surveillance systems. "He should have waited for me." Jay's sister sobbed. "I told him to wait." Maya squeezed her shoulder gently. "We're going to find him." She didn't voice her real fear, that they might already be too late, that Jay's footage might have cost him everything. The police scanner crackled with routine calls, but nothing about a missing teenager. No reports of disturbances, no signs of Jay, just the normal night patrol chatter, as if nothing had happened at all. And that silence, Maya knew, was the most terrifying sound of all. The call came at dawn. Maya's police scanner crackled with codes she'd memorized during her surveillance. 1054, possible 187 behind Sun Fresh Laundry. Dead body, suspected homicide. Her gut twisted as she drove through the quiet streets. Police cruisers blocked the alley, their lights painting the brick walls in alternating red and blue. Yellow crime scene tape fluttered in the morning breeze. Maya parked across the street, her hands gripping the steering wheel until her knuckles went white. Officers milled around, some taking photos, others talking to gathering onlookers. Through gaps in their bodies, she caught glimpses of something on the ground. Someone. She got out slowly, every movement measured despite the rage building in her chest. An officer moved to stop her, but Deputy Tolliver emerged from the crowd, his face a mask of false concern. "Ms. Jennings," he said, his voice dripping with fake sympathy. "I'm afraid this is an active crime scene. You'll need to step back." Maya's eyes locked onto his. "That's Jay Harris, isn't it?" Tolliver's expression didn't change. "Tragic situation. Looks like gang activity. These streets aren't safe after dark." "Gang activity," Maya repeated, the words tasting like poison. "In this town. Behind a laundromat." She stepped closer, using her height to full advantage. Tolliver's hand twitched toward his weapon, but he caught himself. Too many witnesses. "You should go home," he said quietly. "Before you do something you'll regret." Maya's voice was steel. "I already regret not stopping you sooner." She walked past him, ignoring his protests. The crime scene technician was photographing the body. Jay lay face down, one arm stretched out like he'd been running. A single bullet hole marked his jacket, just below his right shoulder blade. His phone was missing. "Shot in the back," Maya said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "That's an interesting gang technique." Officer McCrae stepped forward, notepad in hand. "We have witnesses who heard arguments. known drug activity in this area. Jay Harris was 17, Maya countered. Honor student, filmmaker. Never been in trouble in his life. People hide things, McCrae said with a shrug. You never know what someone's really up to. Maya watched the coroner's team approach with a body bag. Her military training kicked in, cataloging details automatically. The bullet angle, the lack of shell casings, the convenient absence of security cameras in this particular alley. Jay's sister arrived minutes later, her screams cutting through the morning air. Maya caught her before she could run to the body, holding her as she collapsed. They killed him, the girl sobbed into Maya's shoulder. They killed him because of the video. Not here, Maya whispered, feeling Tolliver's eyes on them. Not where they can hear. She led the grieving sister to her truck, away from the growing crowd of spectators. News vans were already arriving, reporters testing their microphones. Sheriff's Department is investigating all leads, Tolliver told the cameras, his face appropriately grave. We ask the community to remain calm and let us do our jobs. Maya drove Jay's sister home, watching the rearview mirror for tails. The girl's words tumbled out between sobs. He sent me his location last night. When he didn't show up, I went looking. But the burger place said they never saw him. I called and called. It's not your fault, Maya said, her own voice rough with emotion. None of this is your fault. At the house, Jay's mother opened the door before they reached it. One look at their faces told her everything. Her knees buckled, and Maya caught her too, guiding both women inside. She stayed with the family through the morning, fielding calls from reporters and well-wishers. Reverend Gordon arrived with food and support, her usual fiery demeanor subdued by grief. They're saying it was gangs, the Reverend said quietly to Maya. In all my years here, we've never had gang activity, not one incident. Maya nodded. They'll close the case in a day or two. No suspects found. No leads pursued. That boy was a light, Reverend Gordon's voice cracked. All he wanted was to tell the truth. Around noon, Maya finally left, promising to return for the vigil being planned. She drove to her cabin the long way, taking random turns to shake any followers. Inside, she locked the door and checked her security measures. Only then did she allow herself to feel the full weight of what had happened. The first sob caught her by surprise, then another. Soon she was on her knees, much like that night on the road, but this time from grief rather than force. She'd failed to protect him, failed to see how far they would go. I'm sorry, she whispered to the empty room. I'm so sorry, Jay. After 10 minutes, she stood up, wiping her eyes. She went to the wall where her investigation notes hung, starting to rearrange them with military precision. Her phone buzzed. Doc had sent more files, internal emails, patrol schedules, personnel records. She began printing everything, creating new categories. A fresh sheet of paper went in the center. Deputy Shane Tolliver, in bold letters. Around it, she added other names, McCrae, Roberts, Danvers. Red string connected them to dates, incidents, victims. She added photos, Jay's school portrait, the crime scene, the gun Tolliver had pressed to her head. Each piece of evidence was a bullet in her arsenal. Doc's message flashed again. How bad? Maya looked at her war board, at the web of corruption and violence spreading across her wall. Her reply was brief. No one else dies. Not on my watch. She touched Jay's photo gently. In it, he was smiling, holding his camera like a shield against the world. That shield hadn't been enough to save him, but Maya had different shields, different weapons, and unlike Jay, she knew exactly how to use them. Maya watched Officer McCrae through binoculars from her parked car. Every Tuesday night, like clockwork, he stopped at the Moonlight Diner for coffee and pie around 11 p.m. She'd tracked his routines for weeks, noting how he always parked in the same spot. away from the building's security cameras. Tonight was different. Tonight, she was done watching. McCrae emerged from the diner, carrying his usual to-go cup. He walked with the cocky stride of a man who thought he was untouchable. Maya pulled on black tactical gloves and checked her zip ties one last time. As McCrae reached for his car door, Maya approached silently from behind. Years of special forces training made her movements fluid and precise. Before he could react, she had him in a chokehold. Not enough to harm, just to control. "Don't fight," she whispered. "You'll only make it worse." McCrae tried to struggle but froze when he felt the zip tie tighten around his wrists. Maya secured a blindfold over his eyes and guided him into the back of her vehicle. "Please," he whimpered, "I have money." "This isn't about money," Maya said, her voice cold and professional. "This is about truth." She drove carefully, taking back roads to avoid the few traffic cameras in town. The abandoned trailer she'd prepared sat on private hunting land, far from any witnesses. Inside, a single chair waited under bright LED lights. Maya secured McCrae to the chair, keeping the blindfold in place. She set up her recording equipment, making sure to capture both their voices clearly. "Officer Brent McCrae," she began, using the formal tone she'd learned in military interrogations. "You're here because a 17-year-old boy is dead." "I don't know anything about that." McCrae's voice cracked with fear. "Let's start smaller then," Maya said. She pulled up a chair and sat directly in front of him. "Tell me about the photos Deputy Tolliver takes. The ones of people kneeling." McCrae's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I can't." "You can. And you will." Maya leaned closer. "Because right now, I'm the only friend you've got. The only one who can keep you safe when this all comes down." She could see sweat beading on his forehead. "They'll kill me if I talk." "They'll kill you anyway," Maya said softly. "You're the weak link, McCrae, the one they'll sacrifice first. Tolliver's already building a case against you, planting evidence in your locker, doctoring your body cam footage." McCrae's breathing quickened. "How do you know that?" "Because that's what they do. Use people up and throw them away." Maya stood, circling the chair slowly. "Just like they used you to help kill Jay Harris." "I didn't. I wasn't." McCrae started sobbing. "I just drove the car. Tolliver said we were just going to scare him." Maya fought back her anger, keeping her voice steady. "Tell me everything. Start with the quota system." For the next hour, McCrae spilled his guts. He described how Sheriff Danvers had deals with private prisons, kickbacks for every inmate they supplied, how they targeted specific demographics, especially black veterans who might resist arrest. "Tolliver keeps a trophy album," McCrae said, his voice hollow. "Photos of everyone he's made kneel. Says it reminds them of their place." Maya's recorder captured every detail. The falsified reports, the planted evidence, the coordinated harassment campaigns. McCrae described how they'd manipulate body cam footage, staging resistance where there was none. "And Jay?" Maya prompted. "What happened that night?" McCrae broke down completely. "Tolliver said the kid was a problem. Had more footage of us. Danvers gave the order. Make it look gang-related. I just drove. I swear I just drove." "Who pulled the trigger?" "Tolliver," McCrae whispered. "He used a drop piece, untraceable. Said the kid tried to run, so he shot him in the back. We planted texts on his phone about drug deals, then destroyed it." Maya let the silence hang heavy for a moment. "Why did you go along with it?" "I wanted to belong." McCrae's voice was barely audible. "Wanted them to respect me. But they never did. I was just their puppet." Maya stopped the recording and removed McCrae's blindfold. He blinked in the bright light, his face streaked with tears. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now you make a choice," Maya said. This recording goes public tonight. You can run. They'll find you eventually. Or you can go to the FBI first. Tell them everything. Get protection." McCrae nodded slowly, understanding dawning in his eyes. "They'll never stop, will they?" "Not unless someone stops them." "No," Maya said. "They won't." She drove McCrae back to his car, leaving him with a business card for an FBI contact. Within an hour, she had edited the recording, removing any traces that could identify the location or circumstances. She created 5 separate email accounts and prepared the files for distribution. From a burner phone, Maya sent the recording to every major news outlet in Georgia. The subject line read, "Police Corruption. The Murder of Jalen Harris. Full Confession." She added a simple message. "Officer Brent McCrae confesses to systematic racism, corruption, and murder in County Sheriff's Department. Includes details of private prison kickbacks, falsified arrests, and the assassination of Jalen Harris. More evidence to follow." Maya watched the files upload one by one, each confirmation ping another nail in Tolliver's coffin. By morning, his world would start crumbling. She touched the screen where Jay's name appeared in the subject line. "They're going to remember your name," she whispered, "and they're going to answer for what they did." Reverend Lisa Gordon sat at her desk in the small church office, reviewing emails on her ancient desktop computer. The fan whirred loudly, struggling against the Georgia heat. Her finger paused mid-scroll when she saw the anonymous message. "Police Corruption. The Murder of Jalen Harris." Her hand trembled as she clicked play. Officer McCrae's terrified voice filled the room, confessing sins that confirmed everything she'd suspected for years. Tears rolled down her weathered cheeks as she heard the details of Jay's murder. "Dear Lord," she whispered, "give me strength for what must be done." She picked up her phone and started making calls. Within an hour, her network of community leaders and activists was mobilized. By noon, text messages and social media posts were circulating throughout the Black community. "Vigil for Justice, tonight, 8 p.m., Community Center." The old brick community center had been a gathering place for decades. It had hosted civil rights meetings in the 1960s, when Reverend Gordon was just a girl. Now, as the sun began to set, people streamed in. Families, elderly couples, teenagers with phones recording everything. Reverend Gordon stood at the podium, her tall frame commanding attention. The room was packed, with people spilling out into the hallway. Local news cameras pointed at her face, but she didn't flinch. She'd faced worse than cameras in her 65 years. "Our town is bleeding," she began, her voice strong and clear. "It's been bleeding for generations. But tonight, the truth has come to disinfect these wounds." She played portions of McCrae's confession through the sound system. Gasps and cries echoed through the crowd. Parents held their children closer. Young men clenched their fists. "Some of you knew Jalen Harris," the Reverend continued. "Some of you watched him grow up in these very halls. He was 17 years old. His crime? Telling the truth about what he saw." She gestured to Jay's mother in the front row, who sat with quiet dignity despite her tears. "Ms. Harris lost her boy because he dared to show the world what really happens on our streets. But his truth didn't die with him. It's spreading like wildfire." The crowd murmured in agreement. Phones lit up as more people shared the confession video. News reporters scribbled frantically in their notebooks. To Sheriff Danvers and his deputies, "We see you now." Reverend Gordon's voice rose with righteous anger. "We see your quotas, your kickbacks, your trophy photos of our people on their knees. The same knees we use to pray for justice are the ones you tried to break." She pulled out a thick manila envelope. "I have here documented evidence of every false arrest in the past 5 years. every resisting arrest charge that ended in a private prison sentence, every routine stop that ended in violence. The Reverend held up the envelope like a sword. Tomorrow morning, this goes to the FBI, the Department of Justice, and every news outlet in the state. But tonight we gather to say, no more. No more, the crowd echoed. Tonight we remember Jalen Harris, whose only crime was courage. Remember Jalen, they chanted. Outside, more people gathered with candles. The vigil spilled into the street, a river of flickering lights in the darkness. Someone started singing, "Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around," and the old civil rights song spread through the crowd. Reverend Gordon stepped away from the podium and embraced Jay's mother. Together, they lit a large central candle. "This light," the Reverend announced, "will burn until justice is done, until every corrupt badge is stripped away, until every prisoner falsely held is freed." She looked out at the sea of faces, young and old, determined and afraid, angry and hopeful. They thought they could silence us with fear, but fear has a way of turning to fury when pushed too far. They thought they could bury the truth, but truth is like a seed. The deeper you bury it, the stronger it grows. News helicopters circled overhead, their spotlights casting strange shadows. Police cars lurked at the edges of the crowd, but none dared approach. The power of the gathering was palpable, electric. "Tomorrow," Reverend Gordon declared, "we begin the real work. Tomorrow, we demand answers. Tomorrow, we show them what justice looks like in the light of day." High above the crowd, on the roof of an adjacent building, Maya Jennings watched through military-grade binoculars. She saw familiar faces in the crowd, people she'd grown up with, people who'd known her father, people who deserved better than what this corrupt system had given them. Her phone buzzed. Doc had been monitoring police frequencies all evening. "They're scared," his text read. "Danvers called an emergency meeting at midnight." Maya adjusted her position, scanning the perimeter of the crowd. She spotted 3 unmarked police vehicles and memorized their plates. Her fingers moved swiftly across the phone screen. Tomorrow morning, it ends. She watched Reverend Gordon lead the crowd in prayer, their voices rising into the night air. The woman's strength reminded her of her drill sergeants in Special Forces training. Unshakable, unstoppable. But this was a different kind of army being built tonight. An army armed with truth instead of weapons. Maya touched the flash drive in her pocket, containing every piece of evidence she'd gathered. Tomorrow, it would all come out. Every photo, every memo, every dirty secret. But tonight belonged to the people below, finding their voice, finding their courage. Another text from Doc. "Be careful. They're desperate now." Maya didn't respond. She kept watching through her binoculars as the vigil continued into the night, the candles below looking like stars fallen to earth. Each light represented a witness, a potential ally in the war to come, the war for justice that would begin with the dawn. The sun hadn't risen yet when Maya pulled into her mother's driveway. The old house sat quiet and dark, except for the kitchen light. Her mother always waited up, no matter the hour. Some habits never changed. Inside, the smell of coffee filled the air. Her mother sat at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a steaming mug. She looked up as Maya entered, her eyes taking in her daughter's determined expression. "You're leaving again, aren't you?" Her voice was soft, resigned. Maya nodded, crossing to the coffee pot. She poured herself a cup, but didn't sit down. "I have to finish this, Mama." Her mother watched as Maya sipped the coffee, standing at attention even in civilian clothes. "Your dress uniform is still hanging in your old closet. I kept it pressed." Maya's eyes widened slightly. "Of course," Her mother knew. She always knew. "I saw what they did to you on that video," her mother continued, voice tight with controlled anger. "Saw how they made my baby girl kneel. Your daddy would have torn this town apart." "I know, Mama." Maya set down her cup and moved to embrace her mother. "But I'm going to do this the right way. The way that makes it stick." Her mother squeezed her tight, then pulled back to look at her face. "You be careful. These people, they don't play fair. Neither do I. Not anymore." Maya kissed her mother's forehead. "I'll call you when it's done." In her old bedroom, Maya found her dress uniform exactly where her mother said it would be. The ribbons and medals caught the early morning light as she removed it from the garment bag. Each decoration told a story of service, sacrifice, and duty. Today, they would tell a different kind of story. She dressed with practiced precision. Every button aligned, every crease sharp, her boots polished to a mirror shine. The uniform still fit perfectly. A soldier's body doesn't forget its armor. She pinned her Special Forces tab in place last, fingers lingering on the metal. In the bathroom mirror, Maya pulled her hair back into a tight regulation bun. Her face looked different somehow, harder, more focused. She recognized this expression from deployment briefings. Mission face, her team used to call it. The go bag was already packed and waiting by the door. 3 USB drives, each containing identical copies of everything she'd gathered. Printed files as backup. Surveillance photos. Financial records. Body camera footage she'd extracted from the department's servers. Every piece of evidence, meticulously organized and documented. Her mother stood in the doorway as Maya shouldered the bag. "You look just like him," she said quietly. "Your daddy, in his uniform. Same fire in your eyes." Maya hugged her one more time. "Lock the doors, Mama. Don't answer for anyone but me or Reverend Gordon." The drive to the state capitol took just over an hour. Maya watched the sun rise in her rearview mirror, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Traffic was light this early, but she could already see news vans heading toward town. The vigil had done its job. Attention was focused exactly where it needed to be. She parked in a public lot 2 blocks from the Capitol building. The morning air was cool against her face as she walked, her footsteps echoing off old stone buildings. A few early workers did double takes at her uniform, but she kept her pace steady and her eyes forward. The Capitol steps were empty except for a maintenance worker sweeping debris from yesterday's tourists. Maya found a spot in the shade and pulled out her phone. 3 messages from Doc. Satellite feed confirms press convoy inbound. Reverend Gordon leading march from community center. Police scanner going crazy. They know something's coming. Maya smiled grimly and opened her live stream app. She'd created the account last night. Truth stands at attention and already had thousands of followers, people waiting to see what would happen next in the unfolding drama of their small town. She checked her watch. 8:45 a.m., right on schedule. The first news van pulled up at 8:52, then another, and another. Reporters emerged with cameras and microphones, setting up their equipment with practiced efficiency. Maya stayed in the shadows, watching, waiting. At 9 a.m. sharp, she heard the singing. Amazing grace floated on the morning air as Reverend Gordon led her congregation toward the Capitol. Hundreds of people carrying signs, wearing T-shirts with Jalen's face, demanding justice. The press scrambled to capture the approaching crowd. Maya took a deep breath and straightened her uniform one last time. She felt the weight of the medals on her chest, physical reminders of every oath she'd ever taken to protect and serve. When the crowd reached the bottom of the steps, Maya emerged from the shadows. The reaction was immediate. Cameras swung in her direction. Whispers rippled through the gathering. Reverend Gordon's eyes met hers, and the older woman nodded almost imperceptibly. Maya walked to the center of the steps, her boots striking the stone with military precision. She pulled out her phone and opened the live stream app. The number of viewers jumped instantly. 100, thousands, tens of thousands. The crowd fell silent. News cameras focused on her face. Maya looked directly into the nearest lens, her posture parade ground perfect, her voice clear and strong. My name is Maya Jennings. I served 16 years defending this country. And this is what I was forced to kneel for. Maya held up her phone, showing the live stream numbers climbing past 100,000. Behind her, a projector screen descended from the Capitol building's facade, courtesy of Doc's technical preparations the night before. What you're about to see is the truth behind the badge in Riverside County, Maya continued, her voice carrying across the hushed crowd. These aren't just files. These are lives destroyed, families torn apart, a system designed to profit from pain. The first documents appeared on the massive screen. Arrest ledgers spanning 5 years. Each entry highlighted in red showed discrepancies. Charges inflated, evidence fabricated, bail amounts mysteriously increased. Notice the pattern, Maya said, pointing to specific columns. Black veterans targeted at 3 times the rate of any other demographic. Charges escalated without cause. Bail set impossibly high, all feeding into a private prison system that pays per head. The crowd murmured as numbers scrolled past. Maya clicked to the next file, a compilation of body cam footage. The video quality was grainy, but the audio was crystal clear. Tolliver's voice rang out. Make sure you get his military ID in the shot. They always have cash saved up, more likely to make bail. Another clip showed McRae laughing. Another one for the quota. Danvers is gonna love this. Maya's voice cut through the gasps of the audience. These aren't isolated incidents. This is policy. This is profit. She pulled up financial records, contracts marked confidential now displayed for all to see. Sheriff Danvers receives $5,000 per inmate, transferred to Colonial Creek Correctional Facility. The more arrests, the more money flows. In the crowd, phones lifted high, capturing and sharing. News cameras zoomed in on the documents. Maya could see reporters frantically calling their stations, their faces pale with the magnitude of the story. But it gets worse, Maya said, her voice hardening. When someone threatened to expose this system, this is what happened. The screen showed security footage from the night Jalen disappeared. A police cruiser following his car. 2 officers, faces clearly visible, approaching him in the alley. The gunshot. The cover-up. They killed a 17-year-old boy. Maya's voice cracked slightly. They killed him because he dared to show the world what they did to me. Because he believed in justice. She played McRae's confession next. The young officer's tear-streaked face filled the screen as he broke down, admitting everything. The targeting, the quotas, the kickbacks, Jalen's murder. I was there. McRae sobbed in the video. Tolliver said we had to send a message. Danvers approved it, said it was maintenance of order. God help me, I just watched it happen. The crowd's anger was palpable now. Signs waved. Voices called for arrests. But Maya held up her hand for silence. I'm not here for revenge, she said clearly. I'm here for justice. Every document you've seen has been verified. Every video authenticated. Copies have been sent to the FBI, the Department of Justice, and every major news outlet in the country. She pointed to specific faces in the crowd. Reporters she recognized. You'll find complete files in your inboxes. Names, dates, bank records. Everything needed to tear this system down to its roots. Movement at the edges of the crowd caught her attention. Men in dark suits and FBI windbreakers were moving through the press of people. Maya nodded slightly. Right on schedule. To Sheriff Danvers, Deputy Tolliver, and Officer McCrae, she said, her voice carrying across the now silent gathering. You made me kneel that night, made me taste dirt while you laughed. But I was trained to gather intelligence, to identify threats, and to protect American citizens from enemies, both foreign and domestic. The FBI agents were climbing the steps now, flanking her position. Maya stood straighter, if possible. You never checked my full service record, did you? A hint of satisfaction crept into her voice. Never wondered why a Green Beret would just quietly accept that kind of treatment? I was never your victim. I was gathering evidence, building a case, and now? She gestured to the FBI agents. Now justice stands at attention. The crowd erupted as Maya stepped aside, letting federal agents take control of the scene. Within minutes, their radios crackled with confirmations. Teams were moving on multiple locations. Live news helicopters captured it all. Tolliver, still in his bathrobe, being led from his house in handcuffs. McCrae, pale and shaking, surrendering at the station. And Sheriff Danvers, trying to flee through his office's back door, caught between two FBI teams. Maya watched it unfold on the giant screen, her posture never wavering. Beside her, Reverend Gordon stepped close. Child, the older woman said softly, your daddy would be so proud. It's not over, Maya replied, watching Danvers being pushed into a federal vehicle. The system's bigger than one county. But it's a start, Reverend Gordon squeezed her arm. And look around. People are watching, learning, standing up. Maya finally allowed herself to really see the crowd. Phones still recorded. Reporters still broadcast. But there was something else now. Hope in people's eyes. Strength in their stance. The knowledge that justice was possible if you fought smart and stood your ground. The FBI agent in charge approached Maya, offering his hand. Master Sergeant Jennings, we'll need your official statement. Maya nodded, her uniform catching the morning sun. Behind her, the screen showed Tolliver being processed at the federal building, his face twisted in impotent rage. The same expression he'd worn while forcing her to kneel. The live stream counter ticked past 1 million viewers. 2 weeks after the arrests, Maya sat before a federal oversight panel in Washington, D.C., her dress uniform crisp under the harsh lights. 5 stern faces watched her from their elevated seats as she detailed years of systematic abuse in Riverside County. The targeting wasn't random, Maya explained, her voice steady. They maintained lists of veterans, particularly minorities, who had combat pay or disability benefits. People they knew could afford bail. It was a calculated business model. She gestured to the stack of evidence folders before her. The private prison contract guaranteed Sheriff Danvers a bonus for every inmate who stayed longer than 30 days. So they set bail just high enough that families would drain their savings trying to pay it. Senator Martinez leaned forward. And you have documentation of this arrangement? Yes, ma'am. Maya pulled out a specific file. These are internal memos discussing what they called retention metrics. They celebrated when families couldn't make bail. Each delayed release meant more profit. The questioning continued for hours. Maya remained composed, methodically laying out the corruption that had infected every level of local law enforcement. When they asked about Jalen Harris, her voice softened but didn't waver. He was 17, an honor student. He filmed my traffic stop because he believed in accountability. And they murdered him for it. In the gallery, Jalen's mother wiped tears from her eyes. Reverend Gordon sat beside her, one arm around her shoulders. The panel's chairwoman spoke next. Based on your testimony and the overwhelming evidence presented, we're recommending immediate federal intervention. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department will be dissolved. State police will assume jurisdiction while a new law enforcement framework is established. She paused, shuffling papers. Additionally, we're creating a victims' compensation fund. Initial estimates suggest over 300 families were impacted by these false arrests and inflated charges. Each case will be reviewed, and reparations will be paid. Maya glanced back at Mrs. Harris. The woman sat straighter now, dignity mixing with grief on her face. The Harris family, the chairwoman continued, will receive the first payment, along with a formal apology from the Justice Department for failing to protect their son. After the hearing, Maya found Mrs. Harris in the hallway. The two women hadn't spoken since Jalen's funeral. Words felt inadequate. Mrs. Harris spoke first. "He looked up to you, you know, after that night. Said you were the bravest person he'd ever met." "He was the brave one," Maya replied softly. "I had training, experience. He just had his conscience and his camera." "The money won't bring him back," Mrs. Harris said, her voice catching. "But we're starting a scholarship in his name for young journalists who want to expose injustice, keep his spirit alive." Maya nodded, emotion finally cracking through her professional facade. "He'd like that." 3 days later, Maya watched from the courthouse steps as state police officers took control of the Riverside Sheriff's Department. They carried out boxes of files, computers, and evidence. The building's sign came down. Citizens gathered to witness the end of Danvers's regime. Doc stood beside her, both of them wearing civilian clothes now. 43 officers under investigation, he said quietly. 12 already pleading guilty. Federal prosecutors say some of these cases go back a decade. "And the prison company?" Maya asked. "Stocks in freefall. 3 board members resigned this morning. They're facing RICO charges for the kickback scheme." He smiled grimly. Amazing what happens when people actually look at the paperwork. Maya saw Reverend Gordon organizing volunteers nearby, helping families fill out compensation claim forms. The older woman's energy seemed limitless as she moved from person to person, offering guidance and hope. "What about you?" Doc asked. "Going back to Atlanta?" Maya shook her head. "No, I'm done running from fights that need fighting." They walked away from the courthouse, through streets that felt different now, lighter somehow. People nodded to them as they passed, offering small smiles of recognition and respect. Their path took them to the edge of town, where an abandoned military training facility sprawled across several acres. The chain-link fence was rusted, warning signs faded by sun and rain. Maya pulled out a key. "County seized it years ago," she explained, unlocking the gate. "Tax auction coming up next month. Doc's already got the paperwork started." They walked to the empty grounds, past obstacle courses overtaken by weeds and buildings with peeling paint. Maya's boots left clear prints in years of dust. The place felt forgotten, but not dead. Just waiting. Doc watched her face carefully. "You sure about this? It's a big undertaking." "People need to know their rights," Maya replied. "Need to know how to protect themselves, their families, how to gather evidence, how to stand up smart." They stopped outside the old armory, its solid walls still straight despite years of neglect. Maya ran a hand along the concrete, remembering similar buildings from her service days. Places where soldiers learned to be warriors. "This is where we start," she said, looking at the building's potential rather than its current state. A training center. But not for fighting, for surviving, for winning. The armory's heavy doors creaked as Maya pulled them open. Sunlight spilled into the musty space, illuminating high ceilings and strong bones beneath the decay. A good foundation. A place to build something new. Doc stepped inside, his footsteps echoing. Already his tactical mind was working, seeing possibilities. "We'll need instructors, lawyers, tech experts." "Already got a list," Maya said. "Veterans who want to serve again. Civil rights activists, people who know the system's weak points." She paused. And we'll need cameras. Lots of cameras. For the next Jalen who sees something wrong and decides to act. 6 months later, the old armory hummed with purpose. Early morning sunlight streamed through newly installed windows, illuminating a transformed space. Training mats covered the floor, and the walls displayed enlarged photos of civil rights leaders alongside tactical diagrams and legal rights posters. Maya stood before a group of 30 women ranging from teenagers to grandmothers. All wore matching black t-shirts with RISE printed in bold white letters. Remember, Maya demonstrated a wrist lock, her movements precise. It's not about strength, it's about leverage and confidence. Mrs. Thompson, would you help me show them? A silver-haired woman in her 70s stepped forward, smiling. 6 months ago, she'd been afraid to drive at night. Now she moved with quiet assurance. When they grab you, Maya continued, letting Mrs. Thompson take her wrist, they expect fear. They expect compliance. She smoothly reversed the hold, causing Mrs. Thompson to release her grip. But we know our rights. We know our strength. The women paired off, practicing the technique. Maya walked among them, adjusting stances, offering encouragement. Some giggled nervously at first, but their movements grew more confident with each attempt. Good, Maya called out. Now, let's move to documentation tactics. They transitioned to the tech station, where smartphones were mounted on specially designed stabilizers. Keisha, a 16-year-old who'd been in Maya's first class, took the lead. The key is steady hands, Keisha explained, demonstrating proper filming technique. No matter what they say, no matter how they try to intimidate you, keep recording. Remember the 4 W's: when, where, who, and why. Narrate clearly, but calmly. Maya watched with pride as Keisha walked the group through various scenarios. The girl who once hid from police cars now taught others how to be witnesses, how to stand their ground legally, how to protect their community through documentation. Your phone is your shield, Keisha continued, but only if you know how to use it right. Auto-upload enabled, location services on, multiple backup clouds. She grinned. They can take your phone, but they can't erase what's already uploaded. The morning session wrapped up with legal rights training. A local civil rights attorney, another veteran, covered consent laws, search requirements, and the specific language to use during encounters with law enforcement. Maya noticed Reverend Gordon entering quietly through the side door, carrying several foil-covered dishes. The older woman set them down and watched the training with approval. During the lunch break, women gathered in small groups, sharing stories and food. The atmosphere was lighter now, filled with purpose rather than fear. Maya joined Reverend Gordon at her usual spot near the memorial wall. "You've built something powerful here," Gordon said, passing Maya a plate of homemade cornbread. "Though I suppose I should say general now, shouldn't I?" Maya smiled but shook her head. "No ranks here. We're all just students and teachers." "Tell that to the sheriff's department," Gordon chuckled. "I heard their arrest numbers are down 60% since you opened. They're actually having to solve real crimes now." They watched as Mrs. Thompson demonstrated a hold break to some younger women, her movements confident and precise. Nearby, Keisha helped another teen set up encrypted messaging apps. "How many graduates now?" Gordon asked. 212, Maya replied. 4 more classes starting next month. We've got waiting lists from 3 counties. And the surveillance resistance workshop? Full. Especially after that dash cam footage caught Deputy Williams planting evidence last week. Maya's expression hardened slightly. Amazing how quickly bad behavior stops when they know they're being watched. Gordon nodded toward a group of women practicing verbal de-escalation techniques. "You're teaching them more than just defense. You're teaching them not to be afraid." Fear was their weapon, Maya said quietly. "Knowledge is ours." As afternoon training resumed, Maya led an advanced class in the back room. They worked with surveillance equipment, learning to spot unmarked cars, identify plainclothes officers, and document patrol patterns. Every skill she'd learned in the military, repurposed to protect rather than engage. The sun was setting when the last students left. Maya walked the grounds, checking security systems and locks, habits that would never fade. The facility had grown, with new buildings housing computer labs, legal clinics, and community meeting spaces. Signs marked walking paths with names like Justice Trail and Freedom Route. She saved the memorial garden for last, as she did every evening. A simple stone marker stood in the center, surrounded by flowers kept fresh by Mrs. Harris and other community members. Jalen's smile beamed from a protected photograph, his eyes bright with the same hope Maya now saw in her students. Maya knelt beside the marker, her fingertips tracing the inscription. Jalen Harris. He showed us the way. The stone was cool against her skin as she whispered, "They'll never silence us again." Stars were beginning to appear as she stood, shoulders square, eyes forward. In the distance, she could hear police sirens, but they no longer carried fear. Her students were out there, watching, recording, standing their ground. The system hadn't changed completely, but the power balance had shifted. Maya took one last look at Jalen's photograph before heading inside. His courage had lit the spark. Now, it was their job to keep the flame burning. "We don't kneel anymore," she said firmly. "We rise." I hope you enjoyed that story. Please share it with your friends and subscribe so that you do not miss out on the next one. In the meantime, I have handpicked 2 stories for you that I think you will enjoy. Have a great day.